Hi everyone, I'm Doug Black at the GTC conference here in San Jose. And with me right now is John Lee. He is Principal Lead for AI Infrastructure at Microsoft Azure. And John, tell us about some of the announcements you all are making this week at the conference.
Fantastic. So we just came back from Jensen's keynote at the SAP Center, and he started off with a bang, right? So he's talking about Blackwell GPUs and how big, how powerful it is. And just remember, just about a year ago, he was talking about the Hopper generation GPUs. So this year, this GTC, Microsoft is really excited about all the new platforms and products that we're planning to launch with the Blackwell. Okay, so you're going to see major announcements come from us. We're going to be supporting all the different variations of Blackwell products that Jensen talked about, starting with like the B100, which is pretty much like a seamless upgrade to an existing Hopper infrastructure. But what we're really super excited about is the GB200, where you marriage the Grace ARM CPU with the Blackwell GPUs, and they're interlinked by NVLink to provide this incredible performance, as Jensen put it, for the next trillion parameter large language model. So we're super excited about that.
Okay, so how does Azure's architecture differ, from the other big cloud services platforms? Yeah.
Absolutely. So you and I were just talking before we started that my background is in high performance computing and supercomputing. So what I'm going to tell you about what Microsoft is not going to sound different because of the HPC background. So what makes high performance computing so different from rest of the industry is scalability, how big you run a job, right? And in AI, that directly translates, because when you're trying to model these incredibly large and complex large language models, scalability matters, okay? So if you take a look at Azure, we've been building up this AI supercomputing infrastructure capability for many, many years. It starts with hiring the right people, okay? So my background has been in high performance computing for 20 years. Prior to joining Microsoft, I was at Intel. Prior to that, I was at Cray, the supercomputing company, okay? So we know that building a highly scalable supercomputing capability is not just about individual powerful nodes. It's how you architect an entire system, how you interconnect them with high-speed, low-latency networks such as InfiniBand. So we've been investing in InfiniBand as a backend network in Microsoft Azure for multiple years. And you've seen us scale incredibly large MPI jobs on our machines. Most clearly evidenced by last year at the November Supercomputing, Microsoft Azure was the only hyperscaler in the history of HPC to land a supercomputer in the top 3. So our Microsoft Eagle supercomputer was a number 3 supercomputer in the world. No other hyperscaler comes even close to that. And that is the type of capability and AI scalability that our customers can expect if they come to Azure. That's how we differentiate ourselves.
Yes, I recall you all were the first cloud platform to adopt InfiniBand. Are there any other unique technologies that you offer the HPC user, the HPC AI user?
There's actually 2 things, because one is you want to replicate the on-prem performances that HPC customers or AI customers demand and expect. Because if they're going to pay for that, they want to maximize the performance, right? So you don't want to pay any kind of penalty associated with virtualization, okay? But you also want to make that supercomputing capability accessible to customers, okay? Remember, at HPC, we've been talking about democratizing HPC for decades, right? Dell's been talking about it, Intel's been talking about it, but it really hasn't happened until cloud made it more accessible. So in addition to just supporting the backend network, one of the things we did was we virtualized the environment, okay? So that it's incredibly easy for our customers to scale from 4-node job to 8-node job to hundreds node job and thousands of nodes of jobs, okay? With a very little performance penalty. So if you take a look at all of our benchmarks, whether it's LIMPAC or whether it's MLPerf, you'll notice that when you compare it with bare metal offerings similar, there's only a difference of about 1% to 2%, okay? So that's another key thing. How do you build a lightweight virtualization where customers don't have to give up a lot in terms of performance? Second thing is, the reason why virtualization is really important for our customers is because we want to make it more accessible. Because AI customers are different from HPC customers. HPC customers are deep-grained in HPC culture and industry for many, many decades. They've developed a lot of muscles. AI innovators are brand new startup companies They don't want to worry about infrastructure. They want to focus on models. So those customers need supercomputing AI infrastructure capability without having to build up those skills. So we think those two things are an incredible marriage, and that's a market that's underserved that we can service at Microsoft Azure.
Yeah, and another big advantage for Azure is that you have access to the latest technologies. There's no 3 to 5 year waiting period for your customer.
It's not every year now at the pace that we're going, right? I mean, just remember last year at GTC, Jensen was up there touting how Hopper was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And this year he was showing Hopper next to Blackwell, right?
Yeah.
That was a year ago. Right? So things are moving very quickly. It's moving at hyperscaler speed, okay? Which really works really well for a company like Azure, right? So we're gonna have these lots of choices for our customers and advanced technology that's gonna be available for our customers, which our customers expect and demand. In the AI space, there's no, to quote a famous line from Top Gun, there's no points for second best. You have to be number one. And this is like the race of our generation. So we want to make sure that we equip our customers with the best and the greatest technology.
And looking ahead, where do you see things going? HPC, AI, and the cloud.
Oh, I think that's a great question. And remember, we're recording this for forever, so you'll find out whether what I'm saying is accurate or not. But if I put my Nostradamus hat on, and this is just me, it's not Microsoft, it's just John Lee, who's been in the HPC industry for 20 years.
Go for it.
My feeling is that I think the market's going to bifurcate. It's going to bifurcate to two areas. One is for those customers that have to have the best and the greatest in order to shorten time to train available in the market, they're going to be willing to pay almost anything. And they're going to build the infrastructure to do that. Okay? Then there's a second part of that. Jensen was talking about generative AI inferencing. Okay? Once you build that powerful model, now you need to monetize it. Okay? And then you need to monetize that and make that available everywhere. You can build 1 or 2 very large dedicated training supercomputers, but in order to inference and make it available to everyone, it needs to go into data centers in Africa, it needs to go to data centers in Europe, in Asia, with very different power and cooling requirements. It needs to be very flexible. Okay? Not only that, inferencing is not about time to train or time to solution. The key metrics for inferencing is going to be cost per inference, cost per transaction, because you move the whole model from investment to COGS. Now it's a transactional cost. So you have to optimize for lowering your performance per transaction. So I think the industry as a whole will kind of bifurcate, and then the supply ecosystem will build around those two optimal design points.
Okay, very good. So we've been with John Lee of Microsoft Azure. Thanks so much for your time.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Doug.